Yes, I watched both games today, and I took notes on both games. And one of them was very unpredictable, and the other one was, well, honestly, I felt kind of sad by the end of the game. At least the second game of the night was competitive. Nice result. And maybe the Germans aren't so done after all. So, we talk a lot about how, the big score that Canada run up. This was a team that maybe if they kept that one close, maybe if Slovakia hadn't kept that game against Canada close, who knows? Maybe Slovakia let it go to their heads a little bit. Maybe Germany had a chip on their shoulder. Either way, this tournament gets more interesting. All right, so first up, Austria against Sweden. And the news with Sweden is no Broberg. Now, Broberg is supposed to be back next game. Now, if you're an Oilers fan, that's Holloway and Broberg, who have both been out during the tournament. Neither of them are supposed to be serious, but still, you're probably thinking, I'd like it if our prospects weren't the ones that were getting pulled out of the games. And for Sweden, they were seeking their 54th straight win in round robin. This is an amazing run that they've been on. And so it continues. Early control went to the Swedes. Holtz just missed high. There were a lot of close misses by Sweden. This could have got out of control very early. Soderblom stood out to me. And I will be keeping an eye on this kid. He's Chara-like. He's 6'8", 238 pounds. Yeah, I pulled that off of Elite Prospects. Kid is huge. And so I was like, he's Chara-like. And then I looked up his height, and I'm like, yeah, 6'8". Checks out. Detroit has an excellent prospect there. I'm going to go ahead and say a late round steal. At the very least, he becomes a Hornquist type player, I would think. He can park himself in front of the net, be a pest, and good luck getting him out of there. Even Boston tried that with Chara for a while, where they thought, if we put Chara in front of the net on the power play, good luck getting him out. And it had mixed results. But Soderblom, I think this is going to be good. The shots were 6-0, 4 minutes in. So... This was the kind of game that you kind of expected. Austria was on their heels. They were most of the night. Ranishitz, I put up here, is going to be exhausted. And honestly, he was the best player in the game for Austria, and it wasn't close. And then when they named players of the game after, I thought, okay, I must have been watching a different game. And even though somebody tried to explain it, and I kind of get it, I really kind of don't. So, 9 minutes in, the shots were 10-0 for the Swedes. 12 minutes in, the shots were 14-0. So they're getting more than a shot per minute. And Ranishitz is not giving up. He is controlling rebounds. He's playing really well. The Swedes were getting legit, really good shots, and he was just turning them aside. The Austrians then take a penalty with 4 minutes left, so Sweden goes to the power play. Holtz had a slapper that was denied. Really good shot by Holtz. Holtz has a nice shot. Very good game. That was denied during the power play. However, Noel Gunler gets a power play marker from Johansson and Holmstrom at 17:45. That makes it 1-0 Sweden. And that's the score after one. Then it was nearly 2-0 at the 1 minute mark of the second period. Wikström was denied. The Swedes drew a penalty on that play, though. And then they score on the power play, so they were 2 for 2 on the power play early. Niederbach scores on that power play from Soderstrom and Raymond at 4:36. Lucas Raymond had a very good game, too. Soderstrom was screening on that goal. That was 2 goals for Austria at that point, or 2 goals for Sweden at that point. Austria had 1 shot. So, that's where we were at. Where I thought, I feel bad for the goalie who has saved so many shots. He has to look up at the shot clock and go, well, we've got 1. So, that's shots. Oh, dagnabbit. Austria then had their best chance near the half, and of course Rossi was involved in that. Raymond left the game hurt. He would come back. So, again, another fan base might have been a little bit nervous when Raymond's leaving the ice, but he would come back. Then Sweden makes it 3-0. It's Gunler scoring again from Holmstrom and Berglund at 10:57. So a little over halfway through the game, it's 3-0 Sweden. And I started thinking, okay, so they stayed close with the U.S., and then the U.S. started blowing them out. Is that what's going to happen here with Sweden? No. Austria takes a penalty, gives the Swedes another power play. The Swedes at that point were 5 for 7 in the tournament on the power play. They had a lot of pressure, almost ended up 6 for 8, but they weren't, so they dropped to 5 for 8. But they generated 5 shots. And then it's Harnisch for the Austrian team that had a chance. that missed the net. The shots at that point were 42-4. Yeah, 42-4. They don't get much better either. But I thought, Harnish, I thought, had a pretty good game for Austria, too. So I thought Harnish, not too shabby. Third period, Raymond would return. Alnefelt having a quiet night. One of the quietest, easiest shutouts that a goaltender's ever had. Sweden was controlling the puck even more. They were at 53 shots with 16 minutes and 15 seconds left. 53 shots. Painful. 12:02 left. Sweden gets another power play. Soderblom had a chance that missed wide. And went off the outside of the post. So again, power play, you just park him in front of the net. You are 6'8". You will be in front of the net on the power play. And everybody else just shoot it at him, and he'll go for the deflection or screen the goaltender. It works. The Swedes would make it 4-0, and honestly, Ranishitz had no chance on that. And I know people are laughing. That's the way the name is being pronounced by both NHL, the NHL Network, and by TSN. I found a pronunciation online that was Ranchitz, but I couldn't verify that that's how he pronounces it, so there you go. So Raymond scores on a beautiful tic-tac-toe goal from Holtz and Sundsvik. And again, Holtz and Raymond look fantastic. I see some of these guys playing together, and I'm thinking, if these guys have been drafted by the same teams, we'll get to that with Germany too. If those two guys have been drafted by the same team, wow, that would have been insane. So there was no let up by Sweden. It was all one-sided through the whole 60 minutes. But at the end, the score's 4-0. Respectable considering the shots. Austria has been held to 0 goals through 2 games. At this point, their goal will be to get one. The shots in this game, not great. 22-1 Sweden in the first, 25-4 Sweden in the second, and then they let up a little in the third. They only outshot them 18-1. Final shots, 65-6. 6 shots. Player of the game, for me, it's Ranishitz from Austria. I'm fine with Gunler for Sweden. He had 2 goals. Absolutely ridiculous that they gave player of the game for Austria to Lindner, a defenseman. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you'd gave it to Harnish, maybe Rossi, okay. You allowed 65 shots, you got 6. Maybe not a defenseman. Just throwing out there, I'm not saying Lindner's not a good player. I'm not saying that at all. But maybe the guy with 61 saves. And then it was pointed out on Twitter, well, the guy with 61 saves, he was player of the game for Austria in the last game. And there's no rule saying you have to spread it around. That's not a thing. You don't see, well, we gave the Hart Trophy this year. Well, we gave it to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He seems like a nice guy, and he's never had it before. And those other guys just hog it, so we decide, and I'm just using that as a random name. Just saying. I mean, awards shouldn't work that way. But anyways, they're kids, they're teenagers, it's World Juniors, and all they win is a wallet. I've heard about that leather wallet plenty. Must be an amazing wallet. I just, it's a wallet. It just seems so weird to me. Do they have money? I mean, they're teenagers. Teenagers generally don't have money in their wallet for very long, do they? Maybe things have changed since I was a teenager. I no doubt they have. All right, so moving along. Next up, Slovakia and Germany. So this was close, and I welcome this game. I welcome this game because this one was not close, and there was never any doubt. Even when it was scoreless, I had no doubt in my mind. First game with a full German roster, and what a difference that made. Not kidding. You could see the huge difference in this team. And Slovakia, I don't know, did they take them lightly? So it was Bugle against Lutkowski. So I was kind of surprised to see Lutkowski for the Slovak team. I understand that they would look at Germany and say, all right, well, we'll save Hlavai for the next game. But I don't know. I think you just play your best guy. And of course, Bugle, this was his first game in the German net, and he was seen as being the better goaltender. And clearly, when we get to players of the game, that's how they. I was bewildered by this. So early puck battles were being won by Slovakia. However, it's Stützle getting the goal for Germany from Elias and Gnip at 5:39. So Germany takes the lead, even though I thought Slovakia had been the better team to that point. Slovakia takes a penalty, Germany gets the power play. So coming out of that goal, the Germans have control of the game. Shots were 4-2 Germany halfway through, and I thought they were a totally different team. And then Mrazek ties it. A shorthanded goal, actually, from Golian and Yelus at 10:07. Golian, I like that kid. Apparently Tri-Cities owns his rights. I saw there was a graphic up there that he was the 69th pick in their import draft. That Golian kid's good. He shot blocks, and even if he's not feeling 100%, he feels hurt, he'll stay out there. He can get kicked in the head, and he still stays out on the ice. All in the same play. The kid's a warrior. Bugle, I thought, needed to stop that goal too. The Mrazek goal wasn't fantastic. That's one that you need to, and I know it was weird because he was also offside. That goal was 100% offside. It wasn't really close. So if you're watching that play in real time, and Craig Button said this too, it looked odd. Mrazek was in a spot where you don't normally see a guy. That's because he was offside. So he shouldn't have been there. And that led to the goal. Close call then for Slovakia on a chance with 5 minutes and 40 seconds left. They almost took the lead there. Slovaks were improving after that tying goal. Chromiak then got a chance on the rush. Chromiak, I thought, had a good game as well. So we go to the second period tied. Early German pressure, Slovakia with some shot blocks, and then they get a goal. Mikluka, gets a goal from Kalenic and Iliash at 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And this is when person's going to say, well, I thought Iliash was on Germany. Yep. Both teams have an Iliash on them. Because that's what happens. So that made it 2-1. And then there was a glove pass by Germany that saved Letkotsi, where that probably would have gone in, but because there was a glove pass, nope. Slovak captain got hurt, Kanasko, he would come back. It was a leg issue, and he was thumping his fist on the ice, and he looked like he was in a lot of, like usually the reaction you'll see if a guy gets like a sprained ankle or a broken leg. I thought, this looks really bad, but then he just went to the bench rather than actually exiting the game, and then he would actually come back onto the ice. So it looked a lot worse than what it was. It could have been a Charlie horse. Charlie horses can hurt like hell. So the Germans were pushing at the 6-minute mark. Slovaks take a penalty, which gives the Germans a chance for the lead. I don't know why I say the lead, because this was to tie it. Gave them a chance to tie it, and they did. 2-2 tie. Stutzla on the power play from Gnip and Bugle at 8 minutes and 14 seconds. So Gnip, if they'd given him the player of the game, I wouldn't have blamed them. This defenseman is really solid. And again, games like this, you get a chance to see prospects you otherwise probably don't, and see guys who might be okay. Now, people will point out and say, hey, the Germans and Slovaks against each other, you may see them as playing a little bit better than you would if they were against the Americans, the Canadians. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point. But as a scout, you might see something in their game and go, I can work with that. Then there was a too many men on the ice penalty by Germany. Slovakia goes back to the power play. And that was after Slovakia just had their first power play as the penalty parade began. Paderka then got a shorthanded break. Bugle saved at the other end right after. So really, really solid play by J.J. Paderka. I thought he was great tonight. The Germans took another penalty. I put G's on the board after that. Like they're in the box again. And Slovakia would score on that power play. It's Mrazek bringing Slovakia back to the lead 3-2 from Nemec and Fife at 14:43. I know it says Faith, but they pronounced it Fife, so I'm sticking with that. Then the Slovaks take a penalty. Germany gets their third power play, and then they would get their fourth power play. And on their fourth power play, they score. It's Iliash from Gnip and Paderka at 19 minutes and 13 seconds. So Paderka's on the board with an assist. Gnip now has two helpers, or that's his third helper. And then right after that, in the last minute of the second period, Slovaks take another penalty, and these are high sticks. These are clear interference calls. Like, these are not borderline calls where you can go, they're getting kind of chintzy. These were clear penalties. So we go to the third period, and the Germans had the power play to start that period. There was some pressure, which drew another power play, which was their sixth. Slovakia had chances after the penalty kill. Some real good back and forth action. I thought both teams in the third period kind of sloppy, but in an entertaining way. You know, when teams are coughing up the puck a lot in their own zone, and then the other team coughs up the puck, and you're like, wow, this is great. You know why? Because I wasn't cheering for anybody, so I didn't really care. So that always makes it more entertaining when you're just neutral bystander watching it than if you've got a vested interest in Slovakia or the Germans in this, in which case probably driving you nuts. Like, stop coughing up the puck. So solid first half for Latkoczy, and then Rabi takes a shot off the inside of his knee, and he was out. And they said that took the Germans down to 4 defensemen. I may have missed a defenseman leaving the game. But they said Gnip will just play more minutes. They'll just keep Gnip on the ice. No big deal. Then with 4 minutes left, Bugle denied the Slovaks, and one of the best saves I've seen, and it might be why he was named the German player of the game. In the overtime, Stützle had a chance that was stopped. Slovaks hit the post, and then they take a penalty. And what's interesting too is that not only did they take a penalty, but there was about a minute that Germany was playing 4-on-3, and I thought they were going to score during that 4-on-3 before the power play. But what happens is you tire those guys out. Then the power play starts, and then Germany tired those guys out too, because you have Pederka and Stützle playing keep away with the Slovakian players. It's not fair. Now, this is where I come to the point I made during this part of the preview, or during this part of the review. If Ottawa had drafted both Pederka and Stützle, we would be talking right now about how amazing these guys were going to be together in Ottawa. And I think it's a shame that's not the case. I'm going to be honest. These guys have amazing chemistry together, and it is a shame they're not going to play for the same team. On the American team, you see that with Zagras and Caulfield as well, but the odds of Anaheim or Montreal trying to put them together, very, very slim. So Germany ends up scoring. It's Zimmerman from Pederka and Stützle at 4 minutes, and that was after the Slovakians failed to clear it. They just couldn't get the puck out. Every time they got an opportunity, they just could not get it past the guy at the point. Just throwing it right to him in a couple of cases. There was some bad luck. There was a lot going on. But for Slovakia, they get a point out of losing this game. The Germans winning this, because they win in overtime, they get 2 points. Remember, the regulation wins are 3. So now they're going to be watching the game between Switzerland and Canada really, really closely, because now for Germany, all they have to do is beat Switzerland. So that's the thing. And for Slovakia, they're going to be cheering for Canada too, because they don't want to have to worry about Switzerland. So for Slovakia, right now, they're sitting at 4 points. Slovakia loses in regulation, if Switzerland loses tomorrow in regulation, they're in the middle round. So that's how that works. Now, the players of the game were Mudrak for Slovakia, which I would have probably given it to Mrazek, honestly, personally. And then Bugle got player of the game, and I thought, did they not watch Pederka out there? Now if I'm pretty sure it was Stützle that had it the last game, which is fine. Stutzle's, fantastic. But if Stützle was the guy who had it last game, and you don't want to give it to the same guy 2 games in a row, why not JJ? He was fantastic. That was amazing. He's just a wizard with the puck. So I don't know. This is only the second time that Germany's had a win in overtime at the World Juniors. The shots, 8-7 Germany in the first, 12-8 Germany in the second. In the third, the Slovaks outshoot them 8-7, and then in overtime, Germany got all 5 shots. Being on the power play and the delayed power play will do that for you. Final shots, 32-23 for Germany, and they get the win, which is good because that first goal by Slovakia was offside. And there you go. You're all up to date. Let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I'll talk to you again soon.